Hey guys, what's good? It's Wes. Hope you're doing well. You know me, I have a ton of digital painting software. A lot of it. I want to say now I have 12 painting softwares installed, and I kind of dabble in all of them. But there's actually one that I want to kind of put on focus this week, and it's one that I think goes under the radar, but it shouldn't. It's kind of a powerhouse, and what's amazing to me is it's less than $20, brand new, lifetime license, and it gives you some incredible like digital brushes. It gives you some really nice painterly feeling brushes, some really awesome palette knives, and things like that. And it's something that doesn't get a whole lot of discussion when people bring up kind of the big digital painting softwares. But I wanted to do a quick video, kind of show some time lapse, show me using Paintstorm Studio. Yeah, if you're looking to get into more of the digital to traditional, or make your digital painting look like traditional painting, or vice versa, if you're coming from traditional and want to go digital, Paintstorm Studio is something you should probably keep an eye on. So like I said, we're going to do a time lapse. I've been working on a few paintings in this program. Pretty excited. I've had it for years, but it's one of those that never quite gets the recognition I think it deserves. And especially for less than $20, brand spanking new, it's something definitely to consider. But without further ado, let's go and dig in to a little bit of Paintstorm Studio. Alright guys, welcome into Paintstorm Studio. This is version 2.48, and I have two pieces that I'm currently working on open. This one is basically kind of a fantasy bog sort of thing, to where you have some patrol soldiers. Oh, there we go. Some patrol soldiers, and I don't really know what I want to do with this. I like the idea that it's some weird abstract form, but I don't know if I want it to be like mushrooms or kind of make this a pillar of a castle. Like, I don't know. But we're just going to kind of play around a little bit here. And then I'm also, I'm back on my World of Warcraft kick. So we're doing some Sylvanas fan art. And yeah, just, you can see how messy this is right here. But this is kind of the appeal of Paintstorm Studio. I do want to show a few of my favorite features before we get into the time lapse and just my overall thoughts of the program, just to kind of show you what we'll be working with here. So I made kind of a new layer. You can make your own custom brush categories, and I like the way kind of these are set up, because they remind me of a Procreate or Infinite Painter. If you're coming from a tablet or a mobile device, this is probably your most natural fit. I mean, you have everything from your just standard main brushes category, different erasers, round bristle brushes. Then you have your flat bristle brushes. You have your pencils. You have your pens, rollers, which I like because this is one of my favorite things about Procreate is they have paint rollers, which has some really cool stuff on it. Some color modes, which has some built-in stuff like a multiply blender. Just some really unique things. I haven't messed with these too much, but they're there. And then your blenders here, you got some great ones. You got some wet palette knives, a dirty palette knife, a really dry palette knife. Yeah, some kind of bristle blenders and type of stuff. So this is I hate to call it like a Corel Painter Lite or a Rebelle Lite or ArtRage Lite, but that's sort of what it feels like. It has kind of your greatest hits, as far as brushes and stuff. But yeah, you can come in and do special effects, highlights and stuff. It has some stamps. And then you can do some double brushes. It's kind of a dirty brush mixer, which is pretty cool. But then you can make custom categories. I had one that I made in 2020 called West Brushes 2020, because I'm very original. And then the other one here called the Pro Pack. This is the one I'm playing with the most. We're going to be primarily using this one while we paint. But one of the main things, it has your standard layers panel, which is good. You can copy merge, you can do blending modes, you can do opacities and clipping masks and mask on each layer for transparency masks and stuff. So kind of your standard fare. there's a lot. There is a brush editor. I haven't used it a lot lately. I just kind of mess with a few of the settings. Let me see if I can. There's normal brushes, but then if I go to, where's the brush? Deal view. There's brushes. Brush options. There we go. So brush options. There's a lot of different stuff. So let's say I come down here to this kind of brush right here. You get the amount of bristle, your opacity, transparency. You get your blur amount, your extending color. So if you want it to be kind of a wet, smeary brush, you can do that. The different angles, where if you want to put it based on pin tilt and pin pressure, your different controllers. You can import textures to use. You can use the double brush engine that they have. Really cool, pretty basic, but it's kind of there. So everything that you kind of need right there. It works on everything. Works on your blenders. Works on your palette knives, stuff like that. But if we zoom in, you can see this gets real messy, really cool. It has those impasto brush marks. Very fun. And then also here, this one's a little smoother, but once you kind of dig in, you can really start seeing some of the palette knife work that we're doing, some of the dry brushes, the way they're blending in together. Very cool. But yeah, this is going to be, basically we're going to be going back and forth. One of my favorite things about this is actually their mixer panel. This is my favorite mixer panel out of every digital art program I've ever used, whether it's Rebelle or ArtRage or Painter or Krita or whatever. This is my favorite one, simply because it has 3 basic modes. So let's say I wanted to bring in, this color right here. I can bring in my color, and then let's say I wanted to see what it looked like blending it in with a red. I can grab the red from that mixer and put it next to this, right here. And then I grab this little middle right here, which is a blender brush. And then I can just start kind of gently coming in and mixing these right here. Takes it a second to, there we go. There we go, and yeah, you can start seeing how this is starting to blend pretty good. I think I have way too much stuff open right now because it's running slower than it normally does. But yeah, we have this sort of deal, and then you can, of course, come in and color pick this mid-tone. Makes it kind of a nice orange. Come over here, and then you let's do the real texture. And then let's say reset brush. Come in, and now we have that color that we mixed on the panel. You can always come in, select these colors, work directly on there, and then vice versa. You can pick a color right here and then add it right here just to see what sorry, my phone's ringing. Just to see what different blends we have. So pretty cool stuff. But yeah, I just want to show a few of these things off. For $19, you really cannot go wrong. This is a great bridge of going between your more digital painting, kind of Clip Studio or Krita or something like that, to something a little more traditional feeling, like a Corel Painter or a Rebelle or an ArtRage, for about at least a third of the cost. So if it's something you're interested in, I say give this a shot for sure. It's a lot of fun. Some really cool blends. You can kind of see them right here too. Very, very cool. Very neat. And yeah, we're going to be working a little bit on both of these, I think, during the time lapse. But I'll go ahead and I'll discuss some of my techniques and stuff like that while we're working on these. But yeah, sit back, relax, grab a snack, and let's do ourselves some painting in Paintstorm Studio. Alright, so here we are in Paintstorm Studio. Hope you guys liked the quick rundown of some of the features and some of my favorite things I like to use. But yeah, we're working on 2 separate pieces here. We're working on a Sylvanas Windrunner fan art from World of Warcraft. And then we worked on like a kind of a color comp. Primarily what I'm trying to learn and focus on right now, one of the 500 things I'm trying to focus on right now in making paintings, is doing color keys or exposure keys, I should say. And what that means is I'm trying to find ways to keep a limited, not only color palette, but a value palette. Instead of going where my darkest darks are near pitch black and my brightest brights are near, blindingly white, I want to find low key or high key, meaning the amount of light in the scene, and then paint in that kind of value realm. So with the bog forest sort of piece, I wanted to keep kind of a darker color key, and it adds to that kind of mysterious gothic-y feel, and I'm kind of trying my hand at that. This one was more of a color sketch type thing. I thought, hey, it'd be cool if there was some patrol of some knights on horses going through a nasty, like, swamp, like, kind of mixing some ideas of maybe Witcher and Game of Thrones, or I don't know, some like darker fantasy, like and even Magic the Gathering swamps, like that sort of really icky, you can feel the moisture and the humidity vibe. I wanted to get that. And then with the Sylvanas one, it's funny, I actually do few drastic changes to the Sylvanas one while we're working. But I'm back on my World of Warcraft stuff, so we had to do Sylvanas. I mean, she gets a lot of hate, and I mean, I understand, but I don't get it. I'm not a Sylvanas hater. I think there's going to be a payoff of some sort. But doing Warcraft lore is a completely different video. Who would really want to sit around and listen to me talk Warcraft lore for 3 hours? Anyway, but there's some big drastic changes I make, and I not only did I want to show the brushes and stuff, but I wanted to show overall workflow whenever I'm using Paintstorm Studio. And sadly, I don't use it as much as I did, let's say, like a year ago. Not because of any particular reason. Just there's so many. I have so many painting programs, and like covering some for the YouTube channel, and trying to just keep up with the updates. And thankfully I've been graced with being like a Rebelle featured artist and doing stuff for them, and so really learning the intricacies of different programs. You can only spend your time so much. But coming back to Paintstorm, I remember why I like it so much. And it's one of those pieces of software that just works. You just open it up and you pick a paintbrush, and the paintbrush was what it says it is, and it feels very much like a Procreate or Infinite Painter. The icon, the image of the brush tip, like it all just kind of works. I will say I did work kind of large with the Sylvanas one, which is the primary one we're going to be looking at. I know I dabble a little in the swamp one for a bit, but then really we start buckling in on the Sylvanas one. Whenever I started using some of those mixer paintbrush type deals larger, and having the brush tip be pretty large, there was some considerable slowdown in the engine. And I do think that's probably just a limitation of, well, not only my computer, but of the software in general. I think the brush engine is a little bit more dated than, let's say, an ArtRage Vitae or a Rebelle 5 or a, Corel Painter 2022. That being said, it's not bad. And in fact, I really enjoy how simply and how responsively it works for Paintstorm Studio, because like I said, you just kind of pick a thing and then you use it and it works the way you think it should, and there's no real fussing around with a bunch of... You'll notice I hardly bring up my brush panel settings. Hell, it took me forever in the little rundown to find where they were, because I don't mess with them. Like, they just do what I want them to do. Hey, I need a flat brush, but it needs to have some dry texture. Okay, I'm going to pick the real texture flat brush. Like, it is what it is. And I mean, for $19, I'm blown away with how good just it feels. And that's a thing I want to talk about, and it's hard to kind of put into words because it's a very subjective thing. It's going to be up to you as the artist what, of course your preferences are, but the way something feels. The only way I can describe this is like driving a car. And let's say you're driving your car, or you have your skateboard or your, bicycle or whatever, and you know it like the back of your hand. And then you drive somebody else's car. And I mean, functionally it's the same thing. It has the wheel, it has the brakes, it has the, parking brake, it has, whatever, you buckle, it's all the same. But the feel is different. The way the brakes work is different. The way that, how loose is the steering wheel. Whenever you crank that wheel over, how quickly does the vehicle start to turn? That's where you start getting into the intricacies of these different painting softwares. And with Paintstorm Studio, there's one or two brushes in this that are like, I wish I could take the brushes from Paintstorm and put them in every other paint software. Because where I think Paintstorm Studio is maybe a little limited or a little older in regards to overall feature set, I think where it has it, just chef's kiss, is in the brushes and the way they mix, and the way that just the feel of the brush is unlike any other program. Like I said, the closest I could maybe think of is Infinite Painter. So if you're a fan of Infinite Painter and you want to get something that works fairly similar on a desktop application, check this one out. I think you're going to be pretty surprised with the type of results you can get. And it's funny, the more I was working on this Sylvanas piece, the more I kept wanting to work on it. And that's always a good sign. Whenever I forget what program I'm using and I'm just picking stuff to paint, that's that flow state that I've always looked for. Even whenever I'm doing a video like this, where I do an overview of a program, I always like to forget that I'm recording. You know what I mean? And that happened like 3 or 4 times here. I was just coming in and doing some sharp edges and, some mixer brushes and blend some things and, do some painterly stuff. And then I was like, oh crap, I'm recording. You just kind of forget, you go in your own little world. And that's exactly why I like using this. It just works. And that's a kind of a tropey thing to say, but Paintstorm, you open it up and it just does what it does. Yeah, it's not as high impact as something like a Rebelle or ArtRage or Corel Painter, but I do think it's a step in that direction as opposed to something like Krita or Metabang Paint, Paint or whatever. I actually haven't used that one, but this seems to be a little bit more rich textural. It's a nice middle ground. I would say this, and I know in my big digital painting overview video that I did, almost like 2 years ago now, I did put Paintstorm Studio kind of in the middle of the pack as far as how it feels. Is it more digital art or is it more traditional art? And I think I'd still probably put it there. The other real traditional heavy, thick brushstroke softwares that I've mentioned have really kind of embraced that. But with Paintstorm Studio, I don't actually think there's any more updates. I could be wrong on that. I think this one's just kind of a done deal. So once you buy it, you have it, and it's there, and like they're gonna support it if there's bugs, but it's been around for a while. And I know they've worked on a few other programs that I might dig into at a later date. But Paintstorm, I just like using it. Well, it's been a treat kind of opening it and doing this video, because now I can see how I'm gonna use this a lot more in my process. And another fun thing, and this doesn't really happen all that much. Usually whenever I make these videos, I go either from a blank canvas to completion, or I go from, kind of where we started here, where I'm in the middle of 2 different things or one item, and then push it all the way to final. But I don't think I'm done with the Sylvanas one yet. Like, I might spend a few more days on it. So by the time this video might come out before I'm done with the Sylvanas painting. The more I was using these different brushes and the mixers, I kept getting ideas. I was like, well, maybe if I kind of take a step back and, do this real texture brush right here, and then maybe if I do her armor this certain way or that. So as I'm painting, I'm thinking about painting more, which is cool, right? It's a good place to be. But I think there's enough here, like hue saturation sliders and different, masking things and clips, as far as clipping masks are concerned. There's a lot of like special effects brushes, so there's a lot to like, especially for $19. And I always bring that up, but this would be good at double the price. I mean, I'd still recommend it at double. So the fact that it's $19 is kind of insane. I can see myself using this for moody Warhammer-esque, and that's sort of what this Sylvanas piece is turning into, I think, is more of a, how would I approach a Sylvanas Windrunner page piece in a like tabletop role-playing game book. And it's exciting. It's cool. I did not intend for it to be that. I just thought it'd be a really quick, hey, I'm going to put down Sylvanas. I'm just going to paint like a kind of a cloudy background and be done with it. But this started really coming to life into something else, and I'm looking at it still incomplete right now, and I'm like, oh man, I know there's a few things I can go in here and do, and so that's fun. Like I said, that's a perfect place to be. Any painting program that makes you want to keep painting and remain in the program, you got a big old thumbs up from me. But yeah, guys, give it a shot if you like what you see here. And the thing is, there's so many different brushes, and they all feel so different. You're gonna find something you like, and of course you can do brush preset management, and you can change the feel, and based on your touch tablet or whatever, you can dig in there. There's a lot of fun stuff you can do. A lot of people might think Paintstorm's pretty basic compared to other programs, but I think it's got it where it counts, and that's the brushes. And I think you can do a lot of incredibly good, detailed painterly work with Paintstorm Studio. Enough so that I could paint a painting in Corel Painter or Rebelle and probably mimic it fairly well doing the same painting here in Paintstorm Studio. That might be a fun idea for a deal later this year, is kind of get all these traditional painting softwares and do the same exact painting. I know Daniel Ibanez did a version of that for Rebelle versus ArtRage, but what if I did like 4 different paintings of the exact same painting and talked about it and showed the differences and stuff like that? Would that be something you guys would be interested in? Let me know. But yeah, these time-lapse videos that you're seeing, this is about 2 hours worth of footage. I bet I'm going to put another 4 or 5 hours into this Sylvanas piece before I post it. This might be a portfolio buffer. I don't know, man. I'm getting more excited the more I'm looking at it. Maybe this is a thing I can send to Magic the Gathering or something. And, even though it's not of one of their characters, it's of a competing company's character, but have it of the type of polish that I would do for kind of a darker, moodier Magic or Warhammer piece. So yeah, hit me up on social medias. That's where I'm going to be posting this once it's done. Be sure to follow me. It's Art of Wes Gardner on everything now. I'm on Twitter, I'm on Insta, I am on TikTok. I need to post more on TikTok, but I'm an old man and it scares me. Kind of put Facebook by the wayside. That place has been a mess for a while, so I'm kind of done with that. But yeah, follow me on Insta, follow me on Twitter, follow me on TikTok. And yeah, a lot to love about Paintstorm Studio. If you have a spare $19, or if you want to not go out and get burgers one night and you want to play with a new toy, Paintstorm Studio is a great way to go. A lot of fun, some really cool brushes, some nice blender brushes, wet brushes, dry brushes, mixers, palette knives. Oh, that's the other thing, palette knives. I love a good palette knife, and mwah, Paintstorm Studio has some bangers. But that's my time. Hope you guys had fun. I'm looking forward to seeing how this Sylvanas one turns out. Because, you guys will know the same time I will. You know what I mean? But, hey, until next time, have a great week. If you're in Texas, please stay warm. It's snowing and icing and all that stuff out right now. I think it's exactly 0 degrees right now. And for Texas, that is preposterous. But anyways, that's my time. You guys, stay safe, stay warm, take care, and we'll see you next time. Peace.